Are we really dying, or are we just being rewritten? Welcome to Information World. What if death is not the end of existence, but the transformation of information? Not disappearance, not darkness, but a transfer. A shift. A reconfiguration of everything that makes you, you. For thousands of years, humans have feared death as absolute annihilation. Religions describe afterlives. Philosophers debate the soul. Scientists study the brain. But modern physics introduces a different and deeply unsettling idea. Information may be the most fundamental element of reality. And if that is true, then death might not destroy us. It might only transform the information that defines us. To understand this, we must first understand what information really is. In everyday language, information means knowledge, memories, data, facts. But in physics, information has a precise meaning. It refers to the arrangement of particles, the state of a system, the exact configuration of energy and matter at any given moment. Every atom in your body carries information. Every neural connection in your brain encodes patterns. Your memories are not mystical clouds floating in space. They are physical arrangements of neurons, electrical signals, and chemical structures. You are not just flesh. You are a dynamic pattern of organized information. Now here is where things become fascinating. One of the most important principles in modern physics is the conservation of information. In quantum mechanics, information cannot simply vanish. It can change form. It can spread out. It can become scrambled beyond recognition. But fundamentally, it cannot be destroyed. This principle became famous in the study of black holes. For decades, scientists believed that anything falling into a black hole would be lost forever. Completely erased. But that idea created a serious problem. If information were truly destroyed inside black holes, it would violate the laws of quantum physics. After decades of debate, the scientific community reached a revolutionary conclusion. Information is not destroyed, even by black holes. Somehow, it is preserved. If the universe protects information at the most extreme cosmic scales, what does that mean for us? When a person dies, the body stops functioning. The heart stops. The brain shuts down. Neural activity ceases. But what actually happens to the information that composed that person? The atoms that formed your body do not disappear. They return to the environment. The carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen that once formed your cells become part of the soil, the air, the water. The energy stored in your body disperses as heat. The pattern changes. But the components remain. Some physicists propose something even deeper. They suggest that information may be more fundamental than matter itself. In some interpretations of quantum theory, reality is built not from particles, but from bits of information. The universe may be, at its core, a vast informational structure. If this is true, then your existence is not merely biological. It is informational. You are a complex, temporary pattern inside a cosmic information field. Think of a wave in the ocean. The wave appears, rises, moves, and disappears. But did the water vanish? No. The pattern dissolved. The underlying substance remained. Perhaps death is like that. The pattern we call self dissolves. But the informational components persist. Now let's explore consciousness, because this is where the mystery deepens. Consciousness feels continuous and unified. You experience a stable identity across time. But neuroscience shows that your brain is constantly changing. Cells die and regenerate. Synaptic connections strengthen and weaken. The physical structure of your brain shifts over time. Yet somehow, the pattern of information remains coherent enough to maintain identity. This suggests that identity may not be tied to specific atoms. Instead, it may be tied to pattern continuity. Imagine copying a digital file from one computer to another. The physical hardware changes. The electrons differ. But the pattern remains identical. The information survives the transfer. If the brain is an informational process, could death be a breakdown of one physical system, while the information disperses into another level of reality? Some scientists explore ideas like quantum consciousness, suggesting that information at the quantum level might not be entirely confined to the brain. Others investigate the holographic principle, which proposes that the universe stores information on boundary surfaces, like a cosmic projection. These theories remain speculative. But they raise powerful questions. Is consciousness entirely produced by the brain? Or is the brain a receiver and processor of deeper informational fields? If consciousness is fundamental, then death may not be the extinction of awareness, but a transition in the way information is organized. Consider this from another angle. In thermodynamics, entropy measures the spread of information. When a system becomes more disordered, its information becomes less concentrated and more distributed. When the brain dies, its highly organized neural information begins to disperse. The structured pattern dissolves into broader environmental states. But dispersal is not annihilation. It is transformation. The memories encoded in neural networks may not survive in the same usable form. But the physical information that created those memories remains embedded in the universe's fabric. Some researchers in digital physics go even further. They suggest that the universe may operate like a computational system. Reality might be the output of underlying informational processes. If this is true, then life is a subroutine within a vast cosmic program. And in computation, information is rarely erased. It is overwritten, restructured, recombined. What if death is not deletion, but redistribution? Let's explore biology. Your body contains around 37 trillion cells. Each cell contains DNA. DNA itself is a molecular code. It stores instructions in sequences of chemical letters. That code is information. It determines structure, behavior, and development. When you reproduce, your DNA transfers to the next generation. Not perfectly identical, but continued. Traits, tendencies, fragments of ancestral information flow forward through time. In that sense, parts of you are already immortal. Genetic information stretches back billions of years. Every living being today carries information that has survived since the first life forms on Earth. You are a temporary expression of ancient code. Death, in evolutionary terms, is not a failure. It is a mechanism that allows information to adapt and evolve. But what about personal identity? What about memories, experiences, emotions? This is where philosophy enters the discussion. Philosopher Derek Parfit argued that identity might not be as solid as we assume. Instead of a fixed self, there may be overlapping psychological continuities. The self could be a narrative constructed by information flows within the brain. If the self is narrative information, then its apparent solidity is already an illusion. Each moment, you are a slightly updated version of your previous state. In a way, you are constantly dying and being reborn as information updates. Every night when you sleep, consciousness fades. Every second, neurons fire and stop firing. Every year, many of your body's atoms are replaced. Yet you experience continuity. Perhaps death is simply a more dramatic update. A larger shift in informational configuration. Now consider the possibility of technological resurrection. If consciousness is information, then theoretically, if that information could be perfectly mapped and reconstructed, a person could be recreated. This idea drives research in brain emulation and digital mind uploading. Scientists are attempting to map neural connections at microscopic scales. The goal is to capture the informational pattern of a brain. If successful, would that digital reconstruction be you? Or would it merely be a copy? This question reveals something profound. If identity is information, then duplication challenges our concept of uniqueness. If two identical informational patterns exist, which one is the original? From the universe's perspective, perhaps there is no difference. Information does not care about originality. It cares about structure. Now let's step into cosmology. The observable universe contains approximately 10 to the power of 90 bits of information. Every particle interaction encodes data. The cosmic microwave background carries information about the early universe. The distribution of galaxies stores information about gravitational history. Nothing truly vanishes. Everything leaves traces. Even when a star explodes, the information about its structure is carried in the radiation and particles released into space. If the universe is an information-preserving system, then death may simply be a local rearrangement within an eternal informational network. Imagine reality as an infinite web of interacting patterns. Each human life is a temporary knot in that web. When we die, the knot untangles. But the threads remain woven into the greater structure. This perspective does not necessarily imply personal survival in the traditional sense. It does not promise memory retention or conscious awareness after death. Instead, it suggests that annihilation may be impossible at a fundamental level. You cannot erase information. You can only transform it. Now let's approach the emotional dimension. The fear of death often comes from the fear of nothingness. The idea that everything we are will vanish completely. But if physics is correct, nothing truly becomes nothing. Matter changes form. Energy changes state. Information disperses. Perhaps what we fear is not destruction, but loss of familiar structure. A book burned in fire loses its readable form. The story seems gone. But the atoms remain. The energy disperses. The information about its molecular arrangement becomes encoded in smoke patterns, heat distribution, chemical residues. The story cannot be easily reconstructed. But the universe still contains the data of what occurred. This view transforms death from a void into a transformation event. Even memory itself may be more distributed than we assume. Some neuroscientists suggest that memory is not stored in a single location but is encoded in dynamic networks. If so, the boundary between inside and outside may be less absolute than we imagine. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics, such as the many worlds interpretation, propose that all possible outcomes exist simultaneously. In such a framework, death in one branch of reality does not imply death in all branches. Information branches rather than vanishes. While highly speculative, these ideas challenge the simplicity of the word end. Even culturally, humans intuitively sense informational continuity. Stories, art, music, language, these are informational extensions of human consciousness. When someone dies, their influence persists in the minds of others. Ideas spread. Actions ripple outward. Cultural information survives across generations. In that sense, every person becomes part of a larger informational legacy. Now let's examine entropy again. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy tends to increase. Systems move from order to disorder. But local order can arise within larger systems. Life itself is an example of localized informational order emerging in a high-entropy universe. When a human dies, the localized order dissolves. But the universe's total information remains conserved. It is like a sandcastle washed by waves. The structure collapses. The sand remains. From a strictly scientific perspective, we cannot confirm conscious survival after death. There is no empirical evidence that personal awareness continues in a recognizable way. But the informational perspective reframes the conversation. Instead of asking, does the soul leave the body, we might ask, how does information reorganize after biological processes stop? Perhaps death is not a wall, but a phase transition. In physics, phase transitions occur when a system changes state. Water becomes ice. Liquid becomes gas. The molecules remain. The structure changes. Could death be a phase transition of organized biological information into broader environmental information? If reality at its deepest level is informational, then you are not a fragile object in a hostile universe. You are a pattern participating in an eternal informational flow. And patterns can dissolve, but the underlying substrate persists. This idea does not eliminate grief. It does not remove the pain of loss. But it replaces absolute nothingness with continuity of transformation. You are made of stardust. The atoms in your body were forged in ancient stars. Those stars died in explosions billions of years ago. Their information was not erased. It became planets, oceans, life. In that sense, death has already created you. Every ending feeds a beginning. The universe appears to be a self-updating informational system. Stars die to form heavier elements. Organisms die to enable evolution. Ideas fade to make space for new ideas. If death is the transfer of information, then existence itself is a continuous exchange. And perhaps the most profound realization is this: you have never been separate from the universe. You are not a visitor in reality. You are one of its temporary expressions. The same laws that govern galaxies govern your neurons. The same informational principles that protect quantum states protect the structure of matter that composes you. You are not outside the system. You are the system. So maybe death is not being erased from the book of existence. Maybe it is being rewritten into a different chapter of the same cosmic story. Not an ending. A transfer. If this perspective changed the way you see life and death, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Information World for more deep explorations into the mysteries of reality.